Yeah.
Good to be here. My name is Brian Neace. I've been in the industry, shooting PRS matches since 2019. Also hosting matches since about the same time. I kind of started doing both at the same time. Since then, I placed in the top shooters in the country several times. And then match-wise, we started with just single one-day matches, and then one PRS one-day matches. Then we went to two Pro Series matches, 2-day matches under Snake River PRS. I just love what I do. I got into this sport to basically be a better hunter, and it's just kind of taken over from there.
That's great. Yeah. So what did you shoot this last year? Did you shoot any matches?
I did. I focused a lot on NRL Hunter because the PRS stuff, we put on the series finale, so my points didn't really matter. So I still had to get in there and compete. So I shot 3 matches. I don't even know where I ended up. I did get an invite. Unfortunately, I couldn't shoot because they put it on. So,
gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about that for the guys. So when you're saying put it on, what are you doing? You're building the target tree, right? You're building the range.
We hosted the match. Normally, we contact sponsors, build prize table, create a course of fire, set targets, the whole 9 yards. This time, kind of a one-time opportunity. The PRS came to us and said, "Hey, would you do our finale?" Huge honor, especially out here in Idaho, first time in the West. It was a lot of work, a lot of people, as you know, but it was worth it. Worth it.
Just the terrain you guys put it on in is amazing, right? They were in a what we call kind of a box canyon around here, high walls, rocks, boulders, cliffs, and you guys somehow got those targets scattered everywhere in there effectively, and that was amazing in itself.
The task was to create a Western style match, and when East Coast people come out here, they expect to see not only a horizontal field of fire, but also a vertical field of fire. So we used the canyon wall, we rappelled down, did some sketchy stuff, but we got some targets way up high, big pans, big wind, small targets. We thought was a tough match, but with the caliber shooter we had out here, one day we didn't have any wind, and man, we had shooters 98%
cleaning
impact.
It, huh? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, like sub MOA targets at 500-600 yards.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Let's talk suppressors and PRS.
Okay. Sure.
Do you have any experience shooting suppressed in any events?
I love shooting suppressed. It's my favorite way to shoot. So I tried to shoot suppressors in matches. Where it's gone is I'll shoot a suppressor in a match, but not a big match. And here's why: I don't quite get the recoil control to see my misses.
Yeah, you're moving off target.
Yeah, I'm moving off target.
Yep.
I don't flinch as much. I feel like I shoot better natural point of aim, better follow through. But I don't quite see as much as I do with a brake. That being said, I've never shot a suppressor brake combination. So
gotcha.
Back here, you can see I brought this as my backup rifle. I brought it down here to do some testing, and I've got a giant can on the end that is not handy when you're trying to go in and out of barricades and stuff like that. So I've just shooting local matches when I'm not too concerned about points and getting everything. But I am interested in shooting a can with a brake on it. I think that's the perfect solution to it.
The crossover, yeah. We've been getting lots of calls and emails and customer service inquiries about comps, e-brakes, anchor brakes. You hear all these terms out there. I actually cut my teeth before I built suppressors. I made muzzle brakes. Okay. That's actually what I started with. It's probably been over 10 years ago now, but I made the Jake brake. It was a side discharge 3-port muzzle brake.
Kind of like what
you guys are still running. Yeah, I made, some of them had 3 holes on the top for muzzle rise, and that's kind of where I cut my teeth and fixed a problem and developed a problem. Right. It's kind of my background. I'm a developer, so
Yeah,
Good recoil control, but really loud.
That
right?
anticipation is a real thing, whether you realize you're doing it or not. I mean, it's getting pounded by that muzzle blast over and over and over. If you're not well protected, double ears, and shrapnel off the ground too. If you're blinking while you're shooting, just trying to keep the dust out of your eyes, that affects how you shoot.
Absolutely.
So,
yep. So I feel like there's room to grow there in our industry, and we have some. I feel like there is some solutions, and there's some that can be improved upon. And so we've kind of been working on these ones. These are our comp in caps.
So which one did you have at the match on the demo rifle?
It would have been this setup. It would have been a 4-baffle comp in cap setup.
Super impressed with that when I shot it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So you did get time behind it?
I did, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's one we've been working on, kind of balancing that length to weight combination, sound suppression versus recoil control.
Yeah.
And trying to find that middle ground. So full transparency, really like the guys over at Thunder Beast. They've been good friends, good industry partners. They make quality suppressors, and they have a good name.
Yeah, I've got
PRS, right? How many you got?
Absolutely. I have several T-back suppressors, and I went to this big 338 Ultra just because of the recoil control, and it could be the weight, it could be the I don't understand it, but this one is the least muzzle jump of all my suppressors. But look at the size of this thing. I mean, to use at a PRS match, a physical match where you're going in and out of barricades. I mean, picture railroad ties with loopholes. You got to come all the way back and shove it all the way back in there. So this is really intriguing to be able to do what I want with adequate noise control and enough recoil management.
Yeah, and that's really what we're after. I mean, this design, so weight and amount of baffles will reduce recoil. That's it's just math at that point. So I could look at that and say that is going to do a good job. How can we make a hybrid of that? That's kind of what we're trying to do here. This thing is extremely light, short, and it is modular. We could change it based on the match type. If you're Hunter series versus Pro series, you can start adding or subtracting baffles. And that's kind of where we're getting into. And we always say it's kind of like a fixed buttstock versus adjustable buttstock, right? Put it how you want it, length of pull, cheek height.
So you can easily transform that into that one.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so like for a hunter match or something. Yeah, I mean, you can name several different applications that would be beneficial for, but you mentioned hunter match. I mean, weight is a big factor because you have to include that in the weight of your rifle.
Because that's the other end of the spectrum, right?
Right. Yeah.
What is that? Do you know what that weight limit is?
Sure. Yeah. Light is 12 pounds currently.
Full build. Everything on it. Got it. So, and that's where we make these in 2 different material types. So, like this one being this one here is all aluminum 70-75 billet. Except for the blast baffles, titanium, so it helps with erosion. Where other ones we make, you can get them the entire piece in titanium if weight's not an issue.
Yeah.
Or you want a little extra weight.
Yeah, PRS, you don't really you're not too concerned about the weight hanging out there because obviously we got weights
mounted on
all
the
over
weapon,
a rifle
right?
anyway to get a good balance. And that's just something. If your suppressor's heavy, you can just you move your weights around to compensate for it. So, not a big deal in PRS. So, but to be able to lighten something up for integral hunter, where you don't have near the rounds and near the need to clean, because you mentioned the aluminum's not quite as good for cleaning.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about our suppressors. You can't break down baffle by baffle and clean all your carbon off. A lot of cleaners, standard CLP, different cleaners like that are just fine on aluminum. But some of these other ones, like we're seeing, I think Thunder Beast, that's what they recommend is CLR.
Yep. So I've got...
And it works great, right?
Yeah, I've got CLR and I've got... I actually called them and they recommended it. PVC like tube with a lid on it.
Yeah, just put the caps on it. Yeah. Yeah, and that works good. But if you're using aluminum, those are some of the limiting factors. You can't clean it that way. So these you could still pull
But the fact
apart.
you can take those apart and see what you're doing, because I mean, when I clean this, it's you're doing this and weighing it too, of course. But
Yeah, we talked that earlier. Writing down your initial weight and then keeping track of it as you shoot, you can tell when you're getting dirty, right?
yeah,
The days of the term can self-clean themselves, people found out real quick that wasn't the case.
We
right?
learned that this weekend.
Yeah.
So we had a shooter. He's actually doing really good. He'd only dropped 3 shots in probably 7 stages.
Oh wow.
Now, I could have misspoke there a little bit, but he was at the top, and the end of his suppressor blew off on a stage. And once you start a stage, he
you have
was
to
on the
finish
second
it,
shot.
right?
You got to finish it. So you got a 1 or a 2 on a 12-round stage. So I mean, his hopes and dreams were ruined. And I looked at the end of his suppressor, and it was just completely full of carbon. Completely.
So he
full.
was just loaded up, and then he had an impact because of carbon coming down. You think?
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's a thing. We talk maintenance, ways to do it. We perform the same tasks. The CLR or aluminum, we use CLP. But being able to do it and maintain it, I think, is key. I grew up shooting big game. I'm from Idaho, born and raised. We
Same here.
started with deer, antelope, went to elk, bear, kind of covered the gambit. Grew up with a lightweight, high recoil Magnum. It was a 7 mag for me growing up. That's
300 Ultra. Yeah.
yeah. That's my grandpa let me use it, and yeah, it basically knocked down everything that got in front of it. So it worked really well.
Yep.
But we definitely didn't have any suppressors back then. And that's even kind of some of my early beginnings. That's actually what I started. I started at 12 with a 7 mag. And my knowledge even was when I went and bought bullets, I'm like, well, that one has a bigger number. I'm going to buy those. Well, those are the highest recoil. I don't even remember what they were. They were Remington core locks, I think 180 grain, maybe 200 grain. Really heavy.
Right.
So I was really doing myself a disservice and really kicking my own butt. And that's actually what got me into making muzzle devices. That was one of the things. It's got to be a way to get rid of some of this, And then suppressors came later. Like, okay, now I got recoil reduction, but I'm blowing my ears off. I remember hunting one time, and my hat even blew clean off my head. Like, okay, there's something going on here that isn't good.
Yeah. So I had nothing on that 300 Ultra for a while, and then I went and got a brake, but it was a radial brake, and my buddies hated me. I was losing hunting partners left and right.
Yeah, then no one wants to hang out anymore, right? Yeah, you're that guy.
Yeah.
I was there on an AR. I put a brake on an AR, really flat shooting. I mean, it didn't move, and pretty soon no one wants to go shooting with you.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, but I bring that up because I've heard there are suppressor-only matches. Is that true?
There are. Yeah. There's several suppressor-only matches. Some night matches that are suppressor-only.
Okay.
There's one up in Washington that's a really great match. There's, and some of Seth and I's, Seth Howard's my partner and Snake River Outdoorsman, so that's why I mentioned him.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
Great guy. Some of our matches are in locations where suppressors would be great. I mean, if we could do a suppressor-only match and have the support of a suppressor company for those, because not everybody's got a suppressor, right?
Yeah. Or they're in a state where it may not be legal, or there's different issues that come up, right?
Yeah, I would love to have that, to walk around with just one set of ear pro or none as a match director, because you're not right there. But
yeah, communication's a lot easier, or even for spotters walking guys on. If you're wearing double ear pro, it's harder to communicate, right?
So shooting NRL hunter matches, team matches, I shoot suppress 100% because your communication's better, your comfort level's better.
Gotcha.
And you got a spotter, right? So that muzzle control isn't quite as important.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I've even heard they may start a suppressor series in PRS.
Really?
I've got a couple phone calls about it, so
that would be pretty cool. Like even like a different division or something, a suppressor division.
Yeah, a division. Yeah, and I'm, my words are loose here, but yeah, like a whole part of it that would be suppressed.
That would, yeah, if it would fill really quick. I can tell you that.
You think it would
Oh
be
yeah,
popular?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Suppressors have really kind of really become part of everyday tool now, right? Like
Sure.
as we see a bipod or new optics.
Yeah.
I mean, even tripods. How long ago were we not using these really? And now it's going to be there.
What's
right?
available now, even bags, even sandbags that we use now, it's changed the sport so much. I remember our first matches in Utah, we're shooting off cattle gates and using tripod rear with I don't even remember the brand, but just rickety little tripods trying to hold a rifle steady, and it's come so far. Like given a stable prop, the bags make rear support unnecessary. It's like, somebody made the term positional bench rest or something like that. It's where you only need one point of contact on your rifle because you got this great big sandbag, great big heavy sandbag. It's really changed the sport a lot. Tripods like this 2-vets here. That's I run a 2-leg 2-vets, super quick to deploy.
Yeah.
I even hunt with it actually, just because I just drop them down on my knees and it's right there. I don't have to extend any legs.
Yeah,
super
like
handy.
One of the crossovers for me was the shooting sticks, right? Same kind of, 2 works really good, especially on the move.
Yep.
Very usable in a lot of circumstances. So I could see that working really well.
Sure.
Okay, so it's 2024 now. And actually, last night, we got a new president.
Yeah.
Right? That was pretty.
I did hear that this
pretty
morning,
amazing.
actually,
Yeah. I stayed up all night. I pulled one of those all-nighters. I actually did that and put hay bales on my wife's garden in the middle of the night because I had honeydews. I was freezing last night, and she doesn't want her stuff to die. So I was doing honeydews and checking in. So it was like 1:30 in the morning before.
Yeah, I did that
closed
last
it out.
time, and I made a point not to because you get so irritated. And I remember what it felt like last time, and I'm not going to do that. I was wait till morning, figure it out.
Yeah, it went pretty good. I had something to do though too, right?
Yeah.
So run the loader, but wanted to just kind of ask you, like, so you have that Thunder Beast there. How long did you wait to get that?
Long time. I don't remember how long ago. This has been years ago that I got this guy, and it was almost a year, probably 11 months.
About 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you bought one recently?
I do have one that they're building at Thunder Beast,
but it's not papered yet.
but it's not papered yet.
Okay.
So that I haven't gone through the new process of the Form 4.
Yeah. So we're seeing currently 3 to 5 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's internally with a individual Form 4 e-file. So that's also changed it, just availability. In the past, you'd really have to plan as a PRS shooter way in advance to do your paperwork, then get the can, then do your practice with the new accessory. So that's also changed the game as well.
And you guys have some built that are on shelves, or do you have to wait for them to be built?
No, we stock.
You stock Suppressor.
Yeah,
Okay.
we try to stay internally. Our policy is to stay at 150 to 200 SKUs or items per SKU on the shelf.
So if I wanted this, well, not this one, but if I wanted my own suppressor, I could come to you in 3 to 5 days, have it.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yep. We have seen, some out of stock times just because the sales are really strong right now. But yeah, in general, we can get you out within that week and get a can in your hand. We offer standard builds, that like this one here. This is the way it comes. It's built out with 8 baffles with a titanium blast baffle. And that's our RCX. That's really the one we see a lot of hunters, long-range shooters use. But then we have a VSX line where it's custom shop. So you get on there and you play Legos and build out the can you want, just how you want it, material you want it in, caliber you want it in. And we do that as well.
Yeah, could we take one of these apart?
Yeah, absolutely. see if this one. So it depends if they're hand tight or wrenched on. That one looks like it's hand tight currently. So yeah,
there's
there's
you could essentially just. I mean, they're pretty much interchangeable, right?
Yeah. So, like, this is our 155 line. Basically, we make it in 30 cal, 5.56, 9 mil, and 45, and you could change it in and out as much as you want. It's all backwards compatible with our own system. So,
and you guys had one. How long for a video? That wasn't like.
Oh, the Grantham video? Yeah, we did a 25-yard suppressor.
25 yards.
75 feet. And he and Micah shot full auto through it, and it cleared.
Yeah,
it's kind of a fun video to watch.
Yeah,
did you get a chance? You did? Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we pride ourselves in good machine ability. That's kind of what that really proved, that we could make a suppressor 75 feet long, and it didn't baffle strike. So you're not going to have any issues with something this long.
Sure.
That was kind of an early on idea. Well, if it threads together, there's no way it can be straight. Well, if you build it right, it can be. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of one of the ways we proved that. But even here, like you were just pulling this apart, if you look at this one, what's on that?
A little bit of carbon.
Yeah, so it's already getting dirty compared to this one. And that's that beauty. You can spot check yourself pretty easily with this system and know, hey, am I getting dirty? I'm still good. Carbon buildup will just eventually take away sound performance because you're losing volume in your can. Doesn't really hurt anything else besides that, except when it builds up enough to start covering the aperture, then you get bullet
that's
strikes,
like a little
right?
piece that breaks off, right, and sits in the way.
It could be both. One
Really?
could just build up and actually just be sitting there, and you start just rubbing it. The round is actually just grazing it, and it's not
it
even
kinda
blowing
refills
it up.
every time you touch it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to have a shift in some random direction. You're like, I don't know really what's going on. Well, it's just literally touching that sidewall. And then the other one is, this flake starts building up, and you're firing it, right? You're dropping mini bombs inside of there, and a flake comes down and then falls halfway across this hole. Your next round, you shot through that.
Yeah.
You either get maybe what that guy experienced, full destruction, or you're going to get a miss.
So, we put this Finale on here, and it was in Bliss, really close to your facility in Hammett. We had an overwhelming positive response from the community. Haven't heard any complaints. Brought a fair amount of money in, I bet, and people like Jake here who basically just went completely out of his way, cleaned his entire warehouse out so we can move in here and feed 400 shooters or 400 people.
400 plus, right?
Yeah,
there was a bunch of guys.
people here.
Was it?
Served, yeah. So of the 250 shooters, we had several guests and just a great big event, really great event. And the landowner that we had the match on, super easy to work with. Just a great all around event. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Seth. For those that don't know, me and Seth actually went to grade school and high school together.
I think you did mention that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Seth and me have actually been in fist fights before when we were like little kids, and they're like, "Stop doing that." Seth is great people, so I knew him growing up, but then I joined the Army and I was in for 22 years total, but moved all over, came back, and here's Seth Howard, and he is a outstanding community member, is the bottom line. And he came to me last year, and what was that event that we did?
Oh, we did our spring match. So it's another Pro Series match, a PRS match, but it's just in the regular season. So we still had 180-ish shooters. So we did awards here at that match too. So.
Yeah, you guys asked, and we cleared out part of our facility and went great. And then Ken came.
Yep.
And he was here for it, and I said, I'd love to do nationals here. And
Yeah.
We just said, yeah, we'll make it happen.
It was
We'd love to have you
Western.
guys.
I've heard several comments. It was a Western style match. Perfect. We delivered pretty much what was asked. So
Awesome.
and it sorted out the best shooter, I believe. So
Man, those guys, they got put to the test. I can say that.
they did for sure. Should also mention on the shooting side, I shoot for MDT.
Okay.
Hodgson also. I always shoot a lone peak. This is my backup setup, but very similar to what I use in matches. Yeah, thank you to all those guys too.
Yeah, they were great help. They came out.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk to a lot of them, but I really wanted to talk to the guy that has the beard for the wind call. Do you know about that?
No.
You have to search that on the internet. But
yeah.
there's a funny video of that's how he calls wind. He's got a chart on his shirt. And when the wind blows one way, so much wind, 10 miles an hour, 15-mile-an-hour wind, the way his beard moves, he makes a mark. As a joke. It was funny.
See that,
yeah. I'm going to have to meet that. He was here and I didn't get a chance to say hi. So hi from Jake for next time. We'll chat.
Cool.
So,
Well, thanks, sir.
yes, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Yep,
Appreciate
you
it.
bet.